Hey buddy, Luxinda Swirl here. We are going to do a resin project, but the first part of it I will not be wearing my gear because there won't be any mixed resin, so I will be talking to you. Here's what we're going to do. We have 4 coaster molds, and I have picked out 4 mica colors, mica being a metallic colorant for resin, among other things. I used to use this in soap, that's why I have these. This is a green, a red, a purple, and a blue. And what I understand is if you take a brush, a paintbrush, and you paint the micas into a mold, then when you pour resin on it and it cures, the mica will then be in the cured coaster or cured resin piece, whatever it is, without having to mix it in or anything. It just sucks it up. So we're going to give that a try. I'm going to paint the rims in these 4 different mica colors. I'm going to pour resin in clear. Even though I have all this great glitter, I'm feeling like I should be glittering everything right now, but I'm going to try it this way first, then we'll do a glittery one next. So I'm going to pour clear in all 4 molds, and then in the center of the one with the green mica, I'm going to put a drop of green alcohol ink. Same with the red, except I'm using an orange alcohol ink. This is a Pinata, does it say Calabaza orange? And the reason is their version of red is a kind of purpley, pinky magenta. And I don't think it will look good with this pretty red mica. So I'm gonna go with orange and hope that that doesn't look horrible. With the purple, I'm going to use Passion Purple alcohol ink. And with the blue, I picked Denim Blue. So I have the links, as always, for all of these items down in the description. If you're interested in buying any of them, check down there. Just go straight to it and there it'll be. I'm going to use KS Resin Liquid Stone Epoxy. This is their high temperature, quick curing. I'll only have about 15 minutes to work, but because I'm not doing anything except mixing the resin and pouring it straight into the 4 molds and then doing 1 drop of ink in each, that should be plenty of time. So you are now going to watch me paint mica into the 4 molds, which means I will speed it up so you don't get bored to tears. And then when I'm done with that, I'll be putting my gear on and gloving up and mixing resin, so you won't hear anything at that point, but you'll still be watching, and I'll speed that up too, so you only have to watch the good stuff, meaning the colors. See what's happening. And then we'll bring you back tomorrow and finish by showing the cured pieces popped out of the molds. Alright, so here we go. And I'm going to try to stay within the lines and not make a mess. That's going to be the hardest part, I think, for me. I have my alcohol inks. I'm going to mix up, these each take about 4 ounces. I'm going to mix up 20 ounces. There's actually more than I need, so let me get out a mold to put the excess in. I have a new mold I want to try out. This is from a wonderful shop on Etsy. I will link to that description below. Let's look at the shininess. Can you see that? That means the coaster that comes out of it will be really shiny too. It's so pretty. And we'll see how that comes out. I may mix a little glitter in with that. That's so pretty. Here's a gorgeous holographic fine glitter called Bubbly from yourglitterdealer.com. Whatever I have left over that goes in here, I will mix some of this in. Okay, everybody, let's take the top off and see how all of our coasters turned out. Woohoo! Well, one thing I see right off the bat, and maybe you can't, but I can, is that a lot of these still have bubbles on the top. So I should have come back one more time, probably 2 more times after I put the cover over it and use the heat gun yet again to pop the last of the bubbles. So we're going to go ahead and see how it turned out anyway. There we go. Okay, let's start with this pretty one. This was one of my overflow molds, and I had a lot of overflow because, as you may remember from earlier in the video, I put text up saying that instead of the 20 ounces I planned on mixing, I actually mixed 24. And I did that because when I poured the hardener in first, it came up over the 10 ounce mark, and was just barely at the 12-ounce mark, and getting it back in the bottles is really tricky, so I decided to add an equal amount of resin, and that's how I ended up with 24 ounces of the whole thing. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look how shiny that is. That's because of how shiny the mold is. It's got these jeweled edges on it, faceted edges. Oh, I like that. Good and sparkly. Okay, now let's do the main point of these, which was these four. So we'll start with our red that had the orange middle because I didn't have a matching red alcohol ink. You can see a little bit of red mica still left, but that's at the top of the mold where there was no resin on it. The resin actually absorbs the mica that I painted into the mold yesterday, and it absorbs it all into where the resin touches. So this is our red one. Very pretty. Okay. See how the blue one turned out. You can see the bubbles, some over there. Could have come back and popped them one more time. Should have done that. Okay, here's how the mold looks. All the blue mica is gone except on the very edge where no resin touched. And here is our blue coaster. Oops, no, I was right the first time. The purple one went way over. This is a little trickier. I overshot the purple, or overfilled the purple one. So see how it domed beautifully over the top, right along there? So this is going to be a little trickier to get out. It can be done, but it's going to take some fingernail work, there we go, to get under the lip. And all the mica came out of the mold. And here is our coaster, and it even has a little extra ledge along the bottom. The coaster's perfectly fine, and it's nice and purple. Very pretty. And if I wanted to, and I don't think I do, this is fine like this, because the coaster is like that, so having an extra lip along the bottom doesn't really matter. But theoretically, you could heat this up with a heating gun and take some tin snips and clip along here, and that would just be such a pain in the patootie because then you'd have to sand it down and do another layer over the top. I'm just going to leave it like this. But don't overfill your molds because you might end up with extra on the lip. But I think this is beautiful. And lastly, we have the green one. Ooh, all the mica is gone. And there is our green mold, or our green coaster. Very pretty. So I'm really happy with how those turned out. It's a gorgeous set of coasters there. Beautiful. More Overflow coasters. Now I believe this one I just went crazy with alcohol ink, including some metallic mixatives, and I even used some of the dreaded Pinata White. So let's see how that turned out. Let's see if we can see it on here. Okay, so if you look through the side like that, you can see by the time I poured out all this Overflow, the resin was starting to thicken because I only had 15 minutes to work with once I mixed it. So none of the alcohol inks sunk down from the surface. So they're all still mostly right here. And that gives the finished product some depth, certainly. And I'm not saying anything bad about it. I kind of like it. It's interesting to see how it turned out. Okay, here's the other one. This one, I took some of the leftover sparkly blue resin, and I put it in here, and then I put some metallic alcohol ink on top and swirled the whole thing. And I ended up with blue sparkly swirls and a little bit of the metallics coming through to this side, not very much. So that's kind of neat. I think that's beautiful. Tell me which one you like best. You like this one? We'll call that number 1, Overflow. Number 2, Overflow. Or number 3, Overflow. And then for my final Overflow, this is my orb. I have an orb or a sphere. I got this mold a long time ago and I hot glued it shut. And the hot glue doesn't stick to silicone, so this should come right off. It's to keep it from seeping out the seam of the mold, keeping the resin from seeping out. And every time I get Overflow that's in a pourable cup, I add to it. So I should have, thanks to my all of the sparkly Overflow I had, we should have a sphere. Ooh, look at that. I have some polish paste that I can use to take the seam off of this, but I wanted you to see it as I unmolded it. So I can use this for the stand. That keeps it sitting upright like that. So there's my little sphere. Here's what it looks like up close. I had some clear, I had some white, I had some more clear, oh, there we go, some more clear, some purple, some blue, and then the blue sparkly top. I like that, that is so cool. There we go. Here are our main coasters that this whole project was about. So we have the red and the green and the purple and the blue. And I'm very pleased with how those turned out. I need to work on the bubble factor, but honestly, in this case, I really don't mind. Something to learn and remember for next time. We have our beautiful, shiny, jewel faceted edge coaster. Overflow alcohol ink experiment coasters. And lastly, we have our orb. It's been pointed out to me that telling people to stay healthy is kind of stupid because it's not always a choice. In fact, it's not usually a choice. So from now on, I'm just going to say, stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.